Do, 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 do. Someone just sent me this. Let me see what's up with this. Okay. Karma quit is an adjustment I am making on Batman quits or fun quits. I'll explain today on stream. What is a karma quit? I don't even know what that is. 4-4 weekend league for karma quits. 4 karma quits. I don't know what a karma quit is. So many people have quit on me 5 minutes in at 0-0 because you made it a popular thing. Blame EA for the horrendous game they publish, not the people quitting because they create 5 chances in 5 minutes and don't score. It's horrible. Trust me, I have my players miss open nets, but then concede first-time shots from man of the match Doherty. Give yourself a rage and frustrated of creating into a trash goal. That's the whole point of my fun quits. It's to try and still enjoy the game. If you create 10 chances and miss them all in 20 minutes and quit, instead of raging to an eventual bullshit goal, you're going to concede to lose. I can understand that point of view. Holy shit, my hair was just all weird all of a sudden. I don't know what this karma quit thing is. I don't know. I can't like comment on that because I have no idea what that is. What is this? So many people have quit on me 5 minutes in at 0-0. You've made it a popular thing. Oh, so he leaves within 5 minutes of the game if he takes chances, doesn't score them, so he just dips. Okay, I understand that point of view then a little bit. We can blame EA for a shit game, but in the end, it's your choice if you play it. Why would you ruin the game for someone else and waste your own time over a game that everyone is struggling with? Everyone plays the game, and we all profit and lose because of it. You're acting like the guy I quit against is a saint. I quit because the person I'm playing is on one depth drop back encounters and waste time. That person 100% doesn't deserve any of my time in the game, period. They can find someone else to frustrate into a loss. I could definitely see like both sides to this. I don't think this is like a one-sided argument. Because I think it's pretty frustrating if I'm playing a game and within like the first 5 minutes of the game someone leaves just because they didn't score their opportunities, because then it just feels like it's a waste of time because you go through the effort of putting fitness cards, contracts, all that stuff just to get into a game for someone to leave and then nothing happens because it's a void game. Nothing really goes down. The other person still gets a loss, obviously, but it's basically like a waste of time for yourself. So I could definitely understand both points of views for this. If that's their tactics and it works for them, so be it. Teams in real life park the bus. See, the real life comparison, I feel like that's what already makes the conversation void, because a real life comparison between someone playing drop back and park the bus is a very different comparison to someone doing it in a video game. Because in a video game, like for me personally, video games are meant to be fun. And when defensive AI is like saving people and they're dropping back and stuff, I always talk about the thing where people basically sacrifice the general experience of the game for the win nowadays, and I feel like that shouldn't be the case, right? Like if I always tell people this, like if I get like 2 kills in Fortnite and I win the game, like the general experience of that game wasn't good, right? Like I want to win the game and get more kills because that's the whole point. The general experience needs to be good. So I definitely get Nick's point of view in regards to people playing one depth and drop back, but it is a tactic right now and it's probably never going to be removed, especially for foot champs. The game is definitely a pay to abuse the game mechanics as much as possible. Use those mechanics to the best of your ability. So when you play foot champs, you kind of know that that's what you're getting yourself into. So I definitely understand this dude's point of view as well, because it is a frustrating thing to leave in a game. I just want to see what the rest of this conversation is. Teams in real life park the bus and play on the counter. Don't see their opposition throwing a patty and walking off the pitch because they don't want to play against a defensive block. Stop promoting bad sportsmanship. I don't agree with this, because real life park the bus. Real life park the bus is very different to a video game park the bus. The way the mechanics work in FIFA, it's just not balanced to how people play in the game. Because again, it needs to be based off a video game. Like it's not a matter of like, oh, it's a because people always want to bring up the thing where it's like, oh, but it's like a realistic thing that people park the bus. No. People are using it because it's overpowered. It's you finding an exploitive thing and then using that exploitive thing to your advantage, right? So I don't agree with this comment. I agree with the general arguments between the two. I think I agree with both sides. I I think more towards the fact that like yes, it's a really really shitty tactic to come up against, but it's also like a thing that you know you're getting yourself into. I always say this about pro players too. Like if you go to the competitions, you know how bad the game is. So when certain things happen, you kind of got to accept it and then just say it behind the scenes and be professional about it because you know the game's bad. Like I would never go to a professional tournament. I would never go to these things because I already know what it's like, right? So you're going there knowing, or you're playing the game knowing what it's like, right? So I think that's really important. Video games equals fun. IRL equals win at all costs. Big difference. True. EA have made, oh, this guy actually. EA have made a FIFA a win at all costs game by having 2 highly competitive game modes and nothing for the casuals. It's not necessarily nothing for the casual. I appreciate you linking me. It's not necessarily like nothing for the casuals. It's just that people sacrifice more for the win nowadays because that's what really really matters, especially since there's 2 competitive modes. Like in Division Rivals, it's pretty sweaty. Like if you play, I don't know if you guys have ever tried this yourself, if you play Division 1 in regular head-to-head, people are playing with like the default formation and tactics of the team. So like if I'm using Barcelona, right, and the midfield consists of Rakitic, Vidal, and Sergio Busquets, I keep that. But I will come up against a guy who's using Manchester City, and he's also using their version of the 4-3-3 that has like David Silva, Fernandinho, Bernardo Silva, like all those guys, right? And that's fun, right? Because that's Division 1. Like you're not going to be playing completely garbage players, but you're playing people that are at least trying different things, trying to actually play football instead of like abusing mechanics. Because dudes, I played a little bit of Division 2 and Division 3 for online seasons. I didn't come up against one person that was thoroughly abusing the drop back tactic, right? And that's fun because then I don't have to do it, right? And then it's just a back and forth thing between 2 players because there's like this mutual agreement, like, yo, we're both not going to use this garbage mechanic. Let's just play some FIFA. Drop back isn't necessarily the issue. It's drop back with low depth because even with if you have it like with 4 or 5 depth, your players are still pushed up a little bit more, right? Even if they're all on comeback and defense, it's the one depth that brings everyone back that kind of affects everything, right? If people don't like the competitiveness, then don't play the game. It's not a difficult choice. That's easier said than done because FIFA, and this is a conversation that like if I look more into Twitter, because Twitter can get a little bit crazy sometimes, right? That's a conversation in itself because the competitiveness of the game really really sucks. I think Division Rivals is perfect in the game because I've always wanted a competitive. I do still want a competitive mode, and if I'm always playing really good players in that competitive mode, I'm down for that. But you need to have a regular game mode. Online tournament mode would be perfect, right? I always say this, but I don't agree with these two because this mentality of like don't play the game, blah blah blah. It's easier said than done because it's a football game and people really really like football in real life. When they hop on, they want to play football. Head to head, you don't gain anything from head to head. You're not gaining coins. You're not building up a team. You're not using different players in a different team. It's not as fun, right? You can use different teams. And it's less pay to win because you're just using whatever team you use, unless people are always abusing Juventus, which one of my cousins does, always plays with Juve, right? Which is fine. It is what it is, right? But I think that don't get me wrong, I'm not a great player in the slightest, and my playstyle is defensive and counterattacking, not being funny, but that's the playstyle that works for me. Not for you. That's an abusive, not an abusive. Like I wouldn't even call it abusive. That's just an effective tactic in FIFA. Like it's not that people look down upon you when you do it because it's EA's fault for making those mechanics like really really effective. It's more about that's not a tactic you're using because it's like you said, it's effective. Like it works for you, but it's because it's overpowered, right? I think it increases the skill gap, or it decreases the skill gap quite significantly because of those specific tactics, right? Because defensive AI does the slide tackles and standing tackles for you, right? And then the shooting is like pretty inconsistent, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, not being funny, but that's the playstyle that works for me. I don't particularly. It's not like for you. It is overpowered, right? I don't particularly care if it annoys people. It's just the way I like to play FIFA. Yeah, this conversation, I could see both ways. I think I don't agree with the comparisons to real life, because the drawback thing, like, you're using it because it's effective. You're not using it because it's realistic. You're using it because it's effective. I feel like people, they use that as an excuse to use these mechanics. That's just not the case, and we all know this. This is why people are using these mechanics. Um, you know, am I supposed to beat this guy? I mean, you can. It's possible. I mean, I've done videos of like beating God squads, like very, very similar team to this. It's possible to beat them, but it's just difficult, right? So if the guy is a good player and he's using a team like that, you're probably going to be screwed, right? Because he has like a really good squad. But if he's less skilled, then you do have a chance. But he will still have an advantage because he has physical presence, the pace, blah, blah, blah. He has everything, right? Virgil van Dijk, right center back, very interesting. I don't know why he does that. When someone does that, you know that they're... yeah, I don't know why he does that. He could definitely use somebody else there in the right back position. But hey, it is what it is, right? This is an interesting one. Proof that pace is broken in FIFA. So I've watched this already. I've watched this part already in this game. It actually makes sense. I don't know exactly how the game mechanics works for this, but when the bar turns red, that's when Felipe Anderson slows down, because this is a Team of the Year Conte. He says 88 Felipe Anderson in form with a hawk versus a Team of the Year Conte with an engine. Anderson is 99 acceleration, 97 sprint speed. Off the ball, can't catch Conte, who is 97, 92. He can. Those margins of 97 sprint speed and 92 sprint speed, you have to take into consideration center of gravity as well. Conte is like a little bit shorter than Felipe Anderson. So his character, it's a player's characteristics of how the pace works, right? So if you look at the pace, Felipe Anderson actually does catch up with Conte, and this is just from what I'm looking at. When Felipe Anderson's pace turns red, that's when he no longer starts to catch up with him, because you'll see generally when you're looking at it, he is starting to catch up to him, right? Up until that point, that's when he starts to slow down, because the pace difference between the two is not significantly low. And you also said that Conte has an engine card. Team of the Year Conte. I'm pretty sure Team of the Year Conte's acceleration and sprint speed is way better. I'm just gonna check that just to confirm. So Conte has, so this is his CDM card, and you're saying that he has an engine on his card. So an engine would give him 97, 92, like you said. But his characteristic of being able to accelerate and sprint really fast makes sense for the height that he has, so on and so forth, right? Felipe Anderson, you have the inform Felipe Anderson. Felipe Anderson's inform card, which is you have the 88 Felipe Anderson card. Felipe Anderson. You have the 88 version. So the 88 version has 77 reaction, so 92, 97, and your pace difference is with a hawk. So with a hawk, 97 accelerate. Hawk doesn't improve pace, does it? It does. So he has 99, 97. Yeah, I don't know. If you look at the clip, he actually is catching up to him. You also have to take into consideration that you need to spam B at some point. So when you're chasing, you see how he's starting to catch up. He keeps pushing the ball so that he doesn't slow down even when he pushes the ball that much because of Conte's characteristics, right? A Team of the Year Conte's characteristics. But at this point, right about here, right, you would kind of start to spam B, and then that way your Felipe Anderson actually, it's kind of like a way to EA to balance that certain part of the game. I don't know, it's really weird, but yeah, he does slow down once he hits red, like, because you'll see the transition right here. He's running. Everything looks fine. It looks like he's going to catch up by a little bit, because the pace difference the fours and fives are not big margins because there's also other stats that take into consideration a person's pace, their height, their acceleration, sprint speed, balance, agility. Very, very important things too, right? Because obviously, if you have better balance, you kind of run quicker in the way that the game mechanics work in this game because you're kind of stiff the entire time. You know what I mean? Yeah, it makes sense. Your player kind of like drops off more when it hits the red. Again, I don't know if sprint speed like is supposed to affect the red that much, but I mean, playing FIFA, that's kind of like what happens. This Conte slows down right there. Yeah, that's not necessarily a bad clip, to be honest with you. Team of the Year Mbappe versus regular Fabinho. Fabinho starts at an angle, so has further to travel with Shadow. He is 83 pace, but catches up in pace and past Mbappe easily. By end of the clip is 4 meters ahead. Mbappe's max pace stats is 99.99. Okay. Let me see what we got here. Oh, I did not mean to do that. That's my friend's party right here. What? Nope. My bad, chat. That's just me and this is me chilling in the Xbox party chat, my boys. Okay, sorry. Like I was saying. Okay, so he slows down because he has to push the ball. Yeah, so that I agree with. So this is like this is a mechanic in FIFA as well. If you do a first time push right here, that initial one is not really that fast because in Mbappe, if he drags his ball further, his acceleration from that drag will bring him further. But the reason why Fabinho gets his ball is because, like I said, as a defender, your aggression and your movement towards getting the ball back from an attacker is greatly improved when someone is spamming the tackle button. So you'll notice it right here. Once he starts chasing after you, he runs normally. Then right here, that's when he's probably starting to like. I always open this. I don't know why I keep opening it. That's when he's starting to like use that aggressive. This is a mechanic in FIFA, right? Where the defender, you see how he starts to get closer to you, and then he out bodies you, right? That's just like from regular tackling in the ball because your player becomes more aggressive towards getting the ball back from an attacker. It's not necessarily I see people saying it's because Fabinho is overpowered. That's just how the game works. That defending aspect against the attackers just works that way. A defender, when he is aggressively trying to push in towards getting the ball back, it just works that way. But yeah, that's pretty much it in regards to the discussion for today. So I think today we talked about karma quitting and the defense. Do I think that this is okay? Not necessarily. I think it needs to be a little bit different than this. I think that Mbappe one, the one he pushes, it actually does make sense that you want him to be like you want him to push the ball a little bit further. It shouldn't be like really, really significant. But I do understand your point of view with that in regards to having a Team of the Year Mbappe push forward with that. But I'm just explaining how the mechanics work for those specific situations. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you guys for the next one. Peace out, my dudes. Bye.